Hi, I'm Dr. Ellis Orozco, and thanks for listening to this video podcast. I hope you have a great weekend. Welcome, and thanks for listening in. I wanted us to think this weekend about the story of Jesus and one of his best friends. His name was Lazarus, and Lazarus had two sisters, Mary and Martha. And one day, Lazarus got very, very sick, and he died. And Jesus gets to Lazarus' house too late to heal him. And both of Lazarus' sisters, both Mary and Martha, say the same thing to Jesus. They say to Jesus, if you had been here, he wouldn't have died. And Jesus says to them, do you believe that I can do anything? And they say, yes, we do. And there's this sense in the whole story that Jesus knows exactly what he's going to do. He knows that Lazarus is going to die. He knows that he's going to get there too late to heal him. And he also knows that he's going to bring back Lazarus back from the dead. By the time Jesus gets there, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. Everyone has been crying over this. Jesus sees Mary crying. He sees all of Lazarus' family who came in from out of town. They're all crying. All of Lazarus' neighbors who have known him for years, they're all crying. And Jesus asks them, where did you put his body? And so they take Jesus to the actual tomb, and Jesus sees the tomb of Lazarus. He sees everyone crying, and it says that Jesus cried also. He starts to cry. And so my question is, why did Jesus start to cry? Jesus knew that Lazarus was going to die, and he knows that he's going to bring him back from the dead. So why cry? I was thinking about that, and it reminded me of when my dad died. And it was a Saturday night, really late. My mom calls me, and she tells me that he's gone. And immediately I started to cry. My wife came into the room, and I told her, and she's crying, and I'm crying, and then I start to get things together. Just I don't know, it's just a reaction. I start to get all of my clothes together to pack because I have to drive to Houston, and that night it's like midnight, and I have to get to Houston. I have to get to my mom, and the whole time I'm putting my clothes into my bag to take off, I'm crying. I'm crying, and I don't know why. I mean, I know that my dad is in a better place. My dad was a Christian. I know that he's in heaven. I know that my mom has an amazing faith and that she's going to be okay. I know that everyone's going to be fine, and yet there I am. I'm crying, and I think that I was crying because I thought about my dad, how much I love him, and just what he had to go through. That his body just wore out, and now he's dead. And it made me cry. And I think that maybe Jesus goes through the same thing. He sees his best friend. He knows that his best friend is going to be okay. He knows he's going to bring him back from the dead. And yet, there's Jesus. He's crying along with everyone else. And I think that maybe he just saw everything that Lazarus had to go through, and it made him cry. 2 weeks from today, we celebrate Ascension Day. It's the day that the church celebrates the fact that Jesus ascended into heaven and is sitting at the right hand of the throne of God, interceding with God for us. That means he's talking to God about us. Now think about that every day Jesus is in heaven, he's sitting next to God, and he's talking to God about me, about my life, about what I'm going through, about what I need, right? And I can't help but think that sometimes when Jesus sees what I'm going through, when he sees how hard I'm trying, that sometimes Jesus is up there just weeping for me. I mean, he knows that everything's going to be fine. He knows that I'm going to make it through. He knows everything about me, but still he's crying for me because of what I'm having to go through. And I don't know about you, but as I thought about that, it just makes me feel good that Jesus loves me so much that even though he knows everything in the end is going to work out fine, he loves me so much that he would weep just because of what I'm having to go through. I hope that brings some encouragement to your life this weekend. Have a great weekend.